Both these guys look ready to go.
All right, well, I'm ready to watch. Let's see here. Scott Gilesby was bragging about getting fight in the night back before. Let's see if he could back it up.
This is Scott's second fight, is that correct?
Yeah, he's 0-0-1, so he got a draw, fight of the night on the draw. So we'd like to see him take a win home.
Basically start with a clean slate. Somebody's O has got to go.
Somebody's O has definitely got to go. And oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that.
Here we go, round one, touching gloves. Locked up.
Ooh, that looked like a low blow. That just didn't hurt him.
Couple knees thrown.
Guys look like
dirty
they're in
boxing
shape.
hands.
Oh, he's already hurt.
Down fast punches, and I think
Man, he is pouring it on. Good for him.
tenacious.
Brian Ross bringing the pain here. Sorry about that, Josh Haynes. That's actually Josh Haynes' name. Bring the pain. Brian Ross isn't quite there yet. I talked to Josh earlier today, and we'll talk about it a little bit when we get closer to his fight. Josh actually served our country in the Army for about 4 years and did his honorable time and got out. He's often thinking about time going back in, possibly pursuing a career as a warrant officer, an Apache pilot, and something he just don't think he can do at this time. But we like the willingness to serve his country again. That's a complete different fight. Even though he's a fighter in the ring, fighting for your country is a complete different fight. And both of them are very admirable. Here we go. Scott Gilesby's got him pinned against the cage.
And Brian Ross is kind of trying for a haphazard guillotine there. He's trying to sink that in, can't get it quite in.
And
Brian Ross would be well suited to try to control the head here a little bit better of Scott.
yeah, let's talk about that. That's a question I actually have. I see Rich do that a lot. Somebody shoots in on a single leg and he pushes on that head.
Well, it's very, very effective. I mean, it's
Wild punches.
Nice, yep.
You throw one straight down the pipe, you can stop those wild punches all day. So many times when I watch, even in UFC, Rob, I see these guys throw those wild punches. And that's all. I just want to get on the side of the cage and say, throw them down the pipe, throw them down the pipe. The straight punches get there a lot quicker.
Right, absolutely. And you know that, and I know that, and a trained guy can do it. But unless you're trained to throw those straight punches, you're going to throw natural looping haymakers.
Right. And train meaning train, not told a month before your fight.
Exactly.
Training starts 2 years, a year
Exactly.
before your fight, to where that's the only thing you do.
You know, we see a lot of this with these guys that come out with the amateurs, and everybody for some reason seems to be so hot on turning pro and getting back in and being a cage fighter. And I really try to discourage my guys from doing any of that stuff until they spent some time in each discipline working and becoming somewhat proficient. You don't have to become great at it, but you should get in there and be able to do some stand-up and be proficient at it. When you go to the ground, be able to wrestle, be able to pull some submissions. And too many guys get in here and just do it off the spur of the moment and don't put all that into it. I'd really like to see more guys and more coaches holding their fighters accountable to being diligent in training, or you're not going to fight under my gym name.
I agree 100%. And I know that's what you're doing, Ron Mitchell. I talked to Ron, who has a lot of fighting experience, just not this type of fighting. He said, yeah, I'm at least going to do 8 fights amateur, maybe 10 before I decide to get pro.
Right.
And a lot of people need to do that.
I agree 100%.
Into the first round. You're on the leg, keep control of your head, but I could see where that would maybe limit your capability of doing exactly that split second and making you rethink. Rich can do what he needs to do, or the fighter can do what he needs to do to get out of that single leg.
Right.
And it doesn't help. I mean, it doesn't hurt that Rich has phenomenal balance. Not many people can hop around on one leg the way he does when somebody's trying to take him down.
Very good balance. Not quite BJ Penn balance, but
yeah, BJ Penn. Now that's going to be a good fight. Is that the 31st, I believe? Coming up?
I got to be honest with you. I'm not sure on the date, but you're right. That is going to be a good fight. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Sean Shirk. That's going to be a nasty fight.
I hope BJ's in shape for that fight, because it should be a really good fight. If he's not in shape, and I can't imagine he's not going to be.
Right.
If he's not in shape, he's going to lose.
He's done that before, and he lost. Was it Matt Hughes?
Yes. He had Matt beat the entire fight, and then literally just gassed, and just got stopped.
Well, we have Brian Ross here on top control. Scott Gilesby's doing a good job setting up against the fence. I've seen this fighting develop so much, Rob, and you see how the fighters can play off the fence, just like in boxing. You taught so many of us to play off the ropes. How is the fence an advantage here and with the ropes, I know you can push guys into the fence and use the momentum created to take them down. And we might have an armbar here. Looks like he's going for a triangle.
Yeah, he's it's hard to tell from here.
He doesn't have the figure 4 in. If anything, might get short. I don't think he's going for an omoplata there for a second, but he's out.
Hey, you use that word.
Omoplata. That's right. That's Greg Hupp, who is our amateur matchmaker.
I think Greg Hupp invented the omoplata, didn't he?
He did invent the omoplata. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio. He is the band of Dandelion Death. He is the band of
Naked Truth and the Screaming Kings.
You need to look up at screamingkings.com. They are a phenomenal band, and they're going to play at the Southgate House, the Madison Theater, all kinds of places coming up here soon.
Also, if you listen, you can hear, if you get on my website, www.boxing4fitness.com.
Don't spell out the number.
In the opening, don't spell out the number. And the opening song that you'll hear coming on is Greg Hupp. That's a song that he wrote for my website, and that's him singing.
And one thing he wants to do, Rob, and not to get away from the fight here, and that's a great pass there by Brian Ross, is Greg wants to do entrance music for fighters, and he does for Rod Housing and some of the fighters here. So if you're interested in that, look it up at screamingkings.com or off MMABigShow.com. Email Greg, and he can cut you a track for your entrance music.
He does great motivating stuff, sends chills up and down my back, some of his stuff.
Phenomenal work.
Brian Ross is in
Scott Gilesby.
A little bit of a triangle choke. Almost doesn't have the shoulder poked on underneath, and he doesn't have his.
Doesn't have the foot behind.
He's got to pull that ankle up a little bit higher.
Yeah, if he gets that foot
he's getting closer. He's starting to get closer. He's pulling down. He's got to get that ankle up a little tighter.
Yeah, he's getting out there. He's got to have that knee, that foot locked behind the knee there. It's just going to slide out. That's your leverage. That's it. That's your leverage in a triangle, is to be able to get that top leg over across your ankle to keep that ankle from. Okay, here we go for the third round. We haven't had many fights go to the 3 rounds tonight, folks, and we're excited when they do. Happens a lot in amateurs. It's very easy to train, but once you get in there, it's easy to go back to your natural instinct, which is to brawl a little bit. And these guys have done a good job tonight of staying composed and fighting the way they've been trained. But you see as fatigue sets in, Rob, you see things, hands dropping. Brian Ross has his hands low right now. They got him back up. Maybe he hurt us, doubt it. But, it's impressive to see a guy that can stay disciplined through the whole fight. Very nice knees.
Right. These guys want to win. You can see it. They're tired. They're feeling it. But, again, these guys are amateurs, and they're fresh, brand-new amateurs. Nervous system's pretty radically affected. They're overly tense and tight and having a hard time recovering and getting their breath back, much unlike if they were in the gym and they're comfortable. A lot of times you get guys in the gym and they think they're in shape to fight, and they get in and they probably are in shape to fight, but they're so nervous and so affected in there, and there's their nervous system that they shoot their wad, so to speak, and they walk around just out of gas all the time.
One thing I'm noticing here is look at Brian Ross's feet. Watch how many times he's crossing his feet. He's switching stances, but he's so tired. Cross right there. He's stepping over in front of his other feet.
Right, and he's able to get away with that. Scott is not trying to impose anything on him. Scott looks pretty gassed also. He's popping out a couple jabs, but look how straight-legged Scott is. These guys need to get something busy and happening here. We're about a minute into the first round with almost hardly anything thrown.
A fighter, if he, and Scott Gilesby may know this, but a lot of times you like to see a fighter, when you see your opponent across your feet, attack, bam, right then. Either come in with punches or come in with a shot. Take advantage of him having his feet crossed because he has no stability once you're engaging.
Also, too, guys that learned down the road that just as nothing has happened, these guys either one of them could have initiated something as simple as a jab and just worked the jab and scored with it and scored big points and not taking much more energy out of themselves at all.
Which is what we all hope we see Oscar De La Hoya do in September.
Yes.
He'll work the jab the whole fight.
The whole fight. Not stopping the 7th or 8th round.
And you can hear the crowd getting a little anxious here. They want to see some fighting. They want to see some punches. They want to see some kicks. Brian Ross really isn't doing much here. I think he's trying to survive. He was a little wobbly-kneed when he got up after the last round. I think his corner encouraged him to move on. Nice hook there by Scott Gilesby. His hands are low. He definitely should be throwing some overhand rights. I don't know about you, Rob. You're my coach, so this is probably the same thing you would tell. I would tell him to start working that jab and throw that overhand right and sink that sucker right in there with his hands that low.
Exactly. I agree with you.
In boxing, we work the body a lot more. We'll lead in with jabs to the body. We'll lead into different things to the body to purposely drop the hands. Kind of dangerous in MMA because it drops your head down to a lower level, but you can still get away with it.
Yeah.
You can definitely, and another thing you can do is use those kicks. Use the kicks to drop his hands. Setting it up, and that's the biggest thing I think a lot of young fighters don't do is they don't set up punches. And that third round, almost nothing happened. So it's really going to be judged on the first 2 rounds. And we're not being critical on the fighters here, folks. Fighting's a hard sport, and these people are very tired. They're very gassed. But it really comes down to who wants it more. I got to say, it wasn't by much, but Scott Gilesby was definitely the most active in that round. And I feel like definitely it could go his way. But we'll see what the judges decide.